In this last lesson of Chapter 2, we're going to look at how these equations, these linear equations, are used in more real-life situations. So the percent of battery power remaining X hours after you turn on a laptop is this formula. It's represented by that formula. So if you know the number of hours your laptop's been on, then you can calculate how much power is left. Obviously, you could look at the little calculator on the top corner where it says how much power is left, but this is how that little gadget on the top corner where it tells you what your battery power is, this is how it calculates it. It uses this formula. So let's graph the equation. Now, obviously, you can have negative power and you can have negative hours. So I'm just going to keep myself in quadrant 1. I'm going to look at the slope, and the slope is going by, the slope is 0.2. M equals negative 0.2. And the y-intercept is 0, 1. Now, I told you that you should not have a slope as a decimal, but we're actually going to keep it as a decimal for now. Just kind of go with me. In order to make the slope easy to count, I'll go by 0.1s. So this will be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this will be 1.0. And I can go by 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay. So my intercept is the 0.01. So that's right here, 1.0. The slope is negative 0.2. So if I were to write that as a fraction, just go with me, you can say that that's down 0.2, right 1. So I can do that because I made my scale go by 0.1s. So down 0.2, right 1, and that's a dot right there. Down 0.2, right 1. I can put a dot there. And that's why I wanted to keep the slope a decimal, so I could do this. So I'm just going to finish the graph and connect it. It doesn't make sense for me to extend into negatives. Y equals negative 0.2x plus 1. Letter B, interpret what the x and y intercepts mean. Well, the y-intercept is right here at 0, 1, and 0, 1 means what? 0 represents hours, and 1 represents the percent in decimal form of power. So 0, 1 means that when 0 hours have passed, means that when you start, means at the start. What does 1 as a decimal in a percent mean? Does it mean 1%? No, it means 100%. So you start with 100% power. Now look at the graph and find me the x-intercept. It's right here at 5. So 5, 0 means 5 hours. And what battery power are you at 5 hours? 5 hours, 0% power. Or you could have written your battery dies after 5 hours, or you have no power left after 5 hours. You don't have to be so robotic with your labels like I am, but you have to say something about 0 power and 5 hours. Last thing is, at how many hours is the battery power at 75%? Well, I want to actually use the formula in this case. Which letter represents power, X or Y? It's represented by Y. So I'm going to use my formula, and instead of Y equals negative 0.2 X plus 1, I'm going to plug in 0.75 because 0.75 is the decimal version of 75%. When you solve that, I'm going to skip all the steps. When you solve that, you get 1.25 hours. So your battery power is at 75% after 1.25 hours. If you want to try letter number 2 on your own, give it a shot. If not, follow along. The amount Y in gallons of gasoline left in a gas tank after driving X hours is that formula. Same idea, let's graph it. Now I can't have negative gallons and I can't have negative hours. So again, I'm going to stay in that first quadrant. I'll graph the point 0, 12. Oh, that's right at the top. And now I'll go down to 1 to the right. And the more points you have, the more accurate your line is. Y equals negative 2x plus 12. Letter B, interpret what the x and y intercepts mean. So I already mentioned that 0, 12 is the y-intercept, and 0, 12 means that you start with 12 gallons. The x-intercept is at 6, 0. 6, 0 means you run out of gas after 6 hours. After how many hours are there 5 gallons left? Well, gallons represents the y value. So I'm going to rewrite my formula. But instead of y, I'll put 5. And when I solve that, I get 3.5. So 3.5 hours have passed when there are 5 gallons left. Last one, the graph relates temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit to temperatures in degrees Celsius. X is Celsius and Y is Fahrenheit. Find the slope and the y-intercept. So remember, the slope is the change in y over the change in x. And remember, you can't count the boxes if it doesn't go by ones. So this goes from 32 all the way up to 86. That's a rise of 54. And the run goes from 0 to 30. So that's a run of 30. So the slope is 54 over 30. And that definitely reduces, so I'll reduce it to 9 over 5. So that's the best answer for the slope. Letter B, right? Oh, we have to find the y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is right here at 0, 32. All right, write an equation of the line. Well, okay, I have all the information. Now I just have to plug it in. 9/5 x plus 32. That's letter B. And letter C, what is the mean temperature of Earth in degrees Fahrenheit? Don't forget about the fact that it says mean. That's not really what they're saying. They're just saying like the temperature isn't the same every day, so the average daily temperature is 15 Celsius. So which letter represents Celsius? Is it X or Y? It's X, if you look up in the question. So I'll rewrite the formula, but instead of X, I'll put 15. And now I do my math. So after I show my work, I get 59 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature of Earth in Fahrenheit. If you have any questions, write them down and ask me when you see me next.